Christi Corradi to the Women Helping Women SOAR, I guess, Zoom room now, place where we can have these intimate one-on-one conversations and highlight yet another woman polishing her puzzle piece to create a new milieu for women to empower themselves. So, Christi, hello.
Hi, thank you, Jan, for bringing me here. Yes,
And you are in Santa Rosa, California,
yes, I'm in Santa Rosa.
which I know so well. I raised my family there for 23 years, and I'm now here in Olympia, Washington. So we have created a beautiful, bright line between ourselves in I call it the Pacific Northwest, and Rudolf Steiner did say that it would be the Northern Americans who would be bringing a new vibration through the angelic realms to free the human, the grip of a diabolical human technology and anti-soul work. So I see that you are the antidote of what is happening on the earth right now. So I want to introduce Christi. She is an art therapist, which I highly really approve of that work. She's a certified life mastery consultant and also an intuitive artist. So those are beautiful labels, but go ahead and take some time and just weave for us in words your elevator speech so that women really get what that means and what you do.
Oh, good practice here. So, my program's called Mastering the Art of Life, and I call it that because we each have a masterpiece within us, and yet we don't always know what that is. That's where we get a lot of longing in our life. And so I help people discover what that is. I help them critique what's in the way, and then I help them create that life as a masterpiece. Now, living a life as a masterpiece, it might be an exhibit rather than a single piece, right? That we bring together all of our gifts that we brought to the world to, and I help people bring that into being.
So I met you in Jill Lublin's, I believe, kindness circle, and we were in a small group, and that's where women can get to know each other. And I expressed what I needed, and you expressed what you needed, and we absolutely met. And I said, well, I would love to introduce your work to the world, and you were so kind.
Site. One of the things that I'm offering right now, I'll just go to that right now, is that
Perfect.
I have a with my intuitive wisdom. So one of the let me back up a little bit. So in mastering the art of life, we have that longing and discontent, and that tells us that we're still searching. And even though I've helped people find theirs, I was struggling a little bit in meshing both myself as an art therapist and a life mastery consultant, which is basically a coach, but it's a more intuitive level of coaching. Uh, Rather than directive, it's evocative. I'm sorry if, yeah. So I evoke out of people their own truths, not my truth. Not I don't have answers for other people. So blending the two, um, and finally, actually, because of this pandemic, I actually did some deep emotional work and looked at what was in my way. And as I would do that every day, I would come home and do my drawings. Now, I've sat in healing groups and done drawings, and it's been people's healing energy and things like that. But I never connected it until we had the pandemic. I did 3 days of a ceremonial work and a deep dive emotionally, and I realized my masterpiece is to actually intuitively draw for people an image, but I don't have the answers from it. Then I show them the image and they discover for themselves. And what I can offer to your community right now is a 30-minute, I call it a sketch your life, it's or a life design 30-minute consultation where I actually begin helping people create in a visual sense the feeling tone of where they are going or what their masterpiece is in their lives. And then from there, if they want to continue, they can with me, but it's a really wonderful 30-minute. I did one today, and it just really helps people jumpstart. And coming up on 2021, it's so important.
So
Yes.
you get to use your coaching skills through the process. I
Yeah.
feel that it's a process. And I actually one day ended up in your room and observed the ability for you to use your intuitive skills. And, honor that. Not everybody has that great intuition, but you were reading for her what some of the symbols, the movement, the colors in a way that she could put words and images to her unconscious.
Yes.
And so I was able to really sense the gravity and depth of your gifts and also the gifts that she was receiving in the process. So much of what we go through that becomes our limitations is at the pre-verbal stage,
Yes.
0 to age 3, the limitations, the trauma, and the patterns. But your work takes them into the feeling world so that they can make new choices. And
And
that's where,
bring that to the surface so they can heal it.
yes.
And in the beginning, we do that in a very concrete way where it's like, oh, that was this or that was that. But as I go on in the working with people, we just can then go to, oh, I have a longing or I have a discontent. Now, what is the truth of what I want to be in and creating? And so, as a coach, one of the reasons I loved coaching as opposed to art therapy was that it was progressive rather than regressive. That art therapy was really designed to go back and dig up the past and things like that. And only to learn the process do we need to do that. Once we realize our true divine nature, then we can always use that as a guide of like, okay, so this is my discontent. What is it that would remedy, if you will, that discontent? Oh, I love serving people, or oh, I love cooking, or oh, I love la la la.
It's amazing how I was telling someone today, our topic du jour of discontent or resistance or pain always is the compass to dial and dive in and then create the solution. And what I loved about your website is you are there and it's a graphic and you are like this, and with a magic wand, it's your paintbrush.
It's a paintbrush,
You're
yes.
you're harnessing. My website is called Sound and Light Healing Art, so I love color and
Uh-huh,
frequency.
uh-huh.
So, how do you work with the woman to? I'm just assuming to repaint her reality. Do you have them do it through painting and images, or words, or both?
Well, one of the things that was a discontent for me in art therapy was I just had so many people say, I don't know how to, or what should I draw, or whatever. And so that's why I actually began doing the drawings for people. Now, I do have some work, but it's not this primary work where I do help people through breakthroughs in how to be more creative. But I really do them for the drawings. For Can I show you an
Oh,
example?
absolutely, yes.
Yeah, let's see. I just did uh, have a couple of beautiful things here. Um, well, I'll show you mine. So, well, that's not a life design. That's more the process. So, like I said, what I do is I design, critique, and create. This is somebody's life design. So, oh, that's right. I have to find the right place with my screen. Let me go
Oh,
ahead and shut that off. Let me turn that off.
interesting.
Yeah, oops, let me turn that off, and then you'll see my purple lights in the background. Oh, no, that's my other camera. Well, see, I can put that down here, and this is,
Well,
oh,
I
I
can
turned it
see
out
you're
myself.
you're all set up for anything and everything, Christy.
Yeah, that's the camera that I use but I was using it for lighting. Oh, Christy, take
Demonstrate.
off that camera.
We'll talk about your book later because it looks so beautiful. She has a book called Beyond the Box, helping women think beyond the box. But go ahead and show us the
Yeah.
artwork in process and
Here
how.
we go. Okay, so this is an image. Are you seeing that?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this is somebody's life design. And so what she did in this, and this would be, we wouldn't get this far in a 30-minute session, but what we did is we explored, how would you like to feel? How would you like to be? You can even talk about some of the things you want to become. But I work on the feeling tone of that. For this person, she felt like it was wings of freedom and that music was in the air. And she's leaning against a stone there, which is a wisdom stone, and she is in a comfortable semi-reclined position, and that image brings her the feeling tone of where she wants to go in her life.
Mhm.
And so every morning she can sit with this image for even 5 minutes a day and start, this is the woman I am, this is the woman I am. Then what we do in continuing on in the process, we look at what is in the way. And this is mine of what was in the way. I'm looking at some healthy lifestyle changes, and this became mine. And sometimes they have words, not often, but they have words. And so this was like um, a process of being able to see what are my next steps or what's in the way. So, but I don't give people the answer. I say, like for that, I hold up the image when it's in process and I say, what do you see in this? Here's one that I just did. This was one that was on Facebook Live with 401. And this is actually the next, this is what are your steps in the next direction of your becoming. And that's the third step of the work that I do. And she saw these beautiful notes moving up, and she named what they all were. And she also saw that, the hearts down here were that carried through the flow of everything that she does. And so she, from that, can take away, what are the steps that I need to take. And every day, if she asks this or is with this image, and she wrote them down, so now she has them, and she's knowing what her next steps are in the course of a day even.
It's almost as if you're working with the etheric and spiritual intuitive directives, bringing it into the visible in a practical way to make
Yes.
guideposts.
Yes.
Excellent. Very
Yes.
empowering for women. Now, what medium are you using there? I notice it's black paper. Is it chalk or?
I use black paper and I use Prismacolors. And how I do this is, let's see, is I actually start white on black. This is actually another thing that I was doing, but I start with either white gesso or I use a white pencil. And actually, when I'm doing my sessions, I'm listening, I'm asking questions, and I'm over here scribbling. I have no idea what I'm scribbling. And as I'm scribbling, things begin to emerge. And then at a certain point, I show the person the screen. At first, I'm not. And I say, now, I want you to give me your first impressions of this. And I turn the screen on so that they can see this. And I say, what do you feel? What do you sense? Okay. And then, like, I was working with this woman the other day, and she was talking about, it was her life design. And she was like, well, that doesn't quite feel right. And what's so beautiful about that was, I said, so what does? And so um, in that moment, we're able to make changes. I have so many beautiful drawings in here. We're able to I make changes with the person. Does this feel better? Does that work? Here's a beautiful life design painting,
Hmm.
and
So
then,
you're a guide, and you are accessing the unknown realms.
yes.
Do you feel, have you always been intuitive since you were a child, where you can see and knew things?
I had a grandmother that was very intuitive, very into metaphysics, things at a very young age. I grew up with that type of thinking. But when I got into school, I thought this was normal thinking. And I had people, kids, who do you think you are? And put me down and tease me and things like that. And I shut it off.
Yes. Mhm.
And I shut it off. And even in my art therapy work, I'm at, and my coaching work, I would only go so far.
Right.
And it wasn't until I really allowed the image to speak, and like you said, to bring the subconscious to the conscious, the inner truth up to the surface, that I was able to let my intuition really thrive. And right now, I am so excited because it is my masterpiece. It's like here I am going to be 62 next week. And here, I do this for other people and do it so brilliantly. And now I'm just soaring with watching people's lives transform with this method, and I just feel so blessed and so grateful.
Thank you for owning your piece. And you are not the first woman this week who has stated, I recently feel safe to be who I am and share what I know. And it is because science and consciousness has caught up. There's a new movie called Superhuman by my spiritual teacher, Carolyn Corey,
Uh,
Harvard, Stanford scientists, pointing out that the quantum field is real. We can remote view, that everything that we've been doing is absolutely normal and we have just accessed it. And I will add that we are here on a contractual basis here on earth, incarnated to awaken and activate this ability for any human that seeks it. And you're on that team, Christi. You are on that team, and I could see that in your work and in your eyes. So thank you for owning it and confidently moving forward and offering it. It is through the artistic realms, again, that we will untie some of the bonds and the boxes. So now we are at your book. Your
yes.
book is Beyond the Box. And I myself left a particular constrained traditional life in Santa Rosa as an orthodontist wife for 23 years. And my existence was not living color. It was good, but it was like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. When I began my spiritual path, I landed in that colorful land. And so tell me what your message is for women for the book, the journey within your book, Beyond the Box.
So one of the first lines of my book is who created the box anyway? And our box is really created of status quo thinking, of our habitual thinking, of all the things that were implanted in, and put into our minds to believe were right. And then people started talking about outside of the box, and it's like, to me, that's a tether. And so in this book, Beyond the Box, it's really about creating your own, again, your masterpiece, but your own thinking construct as well. How can you have your own thoughts rather than everybody else's thoughts? We just went through the election. We're in the middle of the pandemic. We can think anything we want about any of those situations. We have choice. For me, this time of COVID has been one of the most powerful times in my life. And I really believe that in Scotland they call her herself Rona herself. And I feel like it is, and I know it's harmed a lot of people. So my heart really goes out to that situation, but I also know that we can take any situation and we can turn around. The subtitle is called Creative Thinking Expanded. And what Creative Thinking Expanded is thinking thoughts that you have never thought before. Let's start having our own thoughts. How can you put different things together? And there, creative thinking is actually a business term for, brainstorming and things like that. But the expanded is then, how do we add universal law, spiritual principle to that method of thinking beyond the box to create this combination, creative thinking expanded, of a way to make lasting change in our lives, because we don't deal with things at the circumstantial level. We are going to the truth. And I want to say that the truth has not changed just because we have a coronavirus hanging around.
Yes.
The truth has remained the same.
The pandemic has a silver lining of spending more time at home and reflecting and being sure that when we do go back to our active lives, that it is based on true choices and truth in integrity with our puzzle piece foremost. I noticed you have on your website, vision without action is a daydream. So we've had a lot of time to think about what is our vision and what is true action. And then action without vision is a nightmare. And before the pandemic, we were so over busy and so overextended. This has been a time for us to witness and join and share also after the shock and grief of it, the creativity that is floating to the top. I'll give you a little example. I have a sister who's really holiday oriented. And yesterday she gifted me a beautiful decorated party in her garage with the doors open, with the couch and blankets and Bailey's Irish cream, and with our masks on, just a little sip with the air. And we are not victims. We have this choice all the time. And I think your process is deliciously and deliberately empowering women to go beyond feeling a victim of the media and fear-based. So your work is perfect timing. So I have a couple more.
I mentioned something about being a victim, and it's in my book, actually, in the chapter. This is actually outlined by the elements of art and life. So it starts with point and line and shape and color. And in the chapter on texture, I talk about the idea of if we are a victim, we have no choice. When we let go of being a victim, when we let go of blame, we actually have the opportunity to make choices and changes. Dr. Michael Beckwith is a partner of mine, and his work is in this book in a chart of how to really take the steps to move from being a victim into being a spiritual being.
Into being free of that dominance. And it's not like someone is going to grant us or say you're free. We must be free ourselves and reorient the dance of control over to power with, not power over, but power with. So I see that you completely understand this, and it's operational in all of your systems and vocabulary. Excellent. Yeah. So I have a few questions to ask you here. So this program, Mastering the Art of Life, is based on the idea that everyone has a masterpiece within them. Tell me, what do you mean by that?
Well, Rumi said that you could do many things in your life, but if you don't do that thing you came here to do, it's as if you did nothing at all. And that each one of us has a divine purpose, a divine reason for being here. And it may not be just one thing. It may, like I said, be the exhibit of that. But so many people here with that status quo thinking, they don't know it. One of my favorite groups of people to work with is people I call the ripe plums. They know that there's something more to life and they are ready to burst. They just don't know what that is. And so I'm able to help through teaching universal law and principle, help them first of all burst into understanding they have volition in their life through the power of their thoughts and through the power of understanding universal law, and into then discovering through that there is more to life. We are here as the divine in expression, what is ours to do. If we're experiencing struggle, I will guarantee that any struggle is us not living that purpose.
Yes. I love this saying, that which is within you expressed will save you. That which you truly are and within you unexpressed will be your demise.
Yes. So I help people through Mastering the Art of Life. I help them, first of all, my system again is design, critique, and create. So I help them design, and that's part of the discovery process. I do it both in the drawings and then in my 3-month program, Mastering the Art of Life. Then it's actually a year-long program, but we start with 3 months, and helping them design what that masterpiece is. And even if they don't know what it is, we create a vibrational frequency that we can continually use to help us say, am I moving in the direction of my dream? Now it can change. It could be I wanted to be dance instructor. But now I realize that really what I want to do is I want to dance with kids that are in need or something like that. But the feeling tone will be the same. So I help people discover that feeling tone. Then I help them critique what's in the way. What is stopping you? What's in the way? And then I help with the tools. And the tools are basically really learning and understanding the universal laws and how they work in our life every day, and then remembering to use them.
So you obviously sometimes are a consistent coach for someone. Do you coach them for a year, 3 months? Just tell us a little bit about your programs. And I know you also led sacred tours, international tours. So tell us about your different offerings, how long you work with people and in what ways.
So, right now with the intuitive wisdom drawings, I am actually doing one-on-one sessions with people, and I have a special until the end of the year of doing 4 sessions with me. Do you want me to give the price of that? So that's $340. So
Right? Reasonable.
um, it's really a bargain. The prices are going up after the first of the year, but I really want to give people the gift of moving into that. And that is the sessions that I talked about at the beginning. Then my program, Mastering, oops, Mastering the Art of Life is, my program, Mastering the Art of Life um, it starts with, it's a 1 year program, but I allow people to come in for 3 months and get the beginning of it. And that I actually use this workbook that I created called The Creative Way.
That's beautiful.
And it's actually a drawing. It comes with colored pencils, and it actually comes with drawing templates where people can do a drawing meditation to help them move into that creativity, that right brain. I don't know if you saw Jill Bolte Taylor's A Stroke of Insight. She
Yes.
does a TED Talk called A Stroke of Insight. She wrote a
Mm.
book, amazing. She
Mhm.
was a neuroscientist that had a left brain stroke,
Oh,
excuse me. And so she would go into the right side of her brain, and she said how cool is a neurosurgeon can study her work from the inside out.
yeah.
And she really experienced the right side of the brain and how creative that was, and that was the closeness to the divine. And so this book and the drawing meditations help people do that. But it's a vision driven program, once again, through the design, critique, and create. And that's my 3 month program. These you can all find these on my website, masteringtheartoflife.com. And then I offer people the opportunity to continue to work with me for a year through Mastering the Art of Life. My second, there's the Creative Way, and then I do what I call the paint box, and that's where you get the supplies, not the art supplies, but the mental supplies, the spiritual supplies of how to move forward, and then Creative Mastery. And it's all using, so it's a year-long program. We meet twice a week. It's a group program, and then people can come in and do individual work with me if they would like. I am going to do a class in January about the book. It's going to be a 4 week class. It's called Beyond the Box, the class, and it's going to go through the first 4 chapters of the book and talk about how to use the book as a tool.
So they can find all of this on your website. Go
Yeah.
ahead and say your website, and I'll also put it on the video.
Okay. Creative thinking. No, math. That's my own one. Masteringtheartoflife.com. And you'll see there with all my programs and things.
It's so wonderful. And there you are in Santa Rosa, California. So tell me, will you be doing your work differently in person after the pandemic, or continuing on Zoom and in person?
Well, so my group courses, I used to actually do a hybrid group. So I would have some people, and I'd have my computer set up with the camera and stuff so that they could interact with people. And so, and they would come to my studio. I do have a studio here in Santa Rosa, a big, huge table to gather around. And we used to have some really great creative workshops, to begin the process. So, yes, there'll be some live, but I was doing this format, and I really think that the fact that we can do this work right now is part of our next evolution. I don't think it's necessarily through the technology, but I think the technology is a step to us developing the consciousness of connecting. And so I've been doing Zoom work and being able to reach people all over the world doing this work.
My next question, and you said it for me, is evolution. We are having a revolution of evolutionary beings accelerating things back to universal divine principle alignment. Uh, what do you see in the future? Do you see a timeline? You're very intuitive, and inquiring minds want to know. What's the end result? And just tell me what you see.
I'll tell you what I see. I'll tell you what I see. I am planning my next travel program, which is a conscious-based travel programs in May of 2021 to Italy.
Nice.
Now, I do have my little ways out. I will say that some of that depends on the consciousness of our planet as we evolve. But I think that so my son's actually adopted from Guatemala, and when he was young we found a Mayan teacher for him, and we've stayed connected with that Mayan teacher. And one of his teachings is about was around when the Mayan calendar changed, and he explained it in a way that I really could understand it. He says, right now we're in the phase of the corn people, and the corn people are dense. The corn people are rooted. They're, this is how they grow. We are moving into the honey people. And those with the honey people will see life transparently. We will be able to see through the material finiteness of the corn people. The corn people will still exist, but they will not be able to understand or move forward with the honey people. And so to me, that's about what our work is to do, is to, one of my mentors and teachers was a teacher from 30 years ago. Her name was Dr. Peggy Bassett, and she ended up getting Lou Gehrig's disease, and she wrote an article called "My Closer Walk with God."
Mm, mm,
and and it was like people kept trying to pray away my disease, but this has taken me into my closer walk with God, which is what I was asking for. I think that wherever we're moving, whatever we are doing, we are moving into that closer walk with God.
so beautifully said. And to have your level of multiple toolkits and to be working interdimensionally, I know you've done a lot of personal work and work with masters. So I'm so happy to bring Christi Corradi to my community today. My community is, we call it SOAR, Sounding Our Authentic Resonance. And I study the human voice's frequency and have found ways to mitigate human fear, to remove it so that we can speak in a way that is such a resounding bell of truth that incites in people trust and love and the willingness to co-create together without fear. So my group, SOAR, SOAR, Voice of Truth Initiative, I invite you to become a member of my tribe and circle as a Facebook circle. And in this way, we are overlapping, and it's similar to the flower of life, geometrical, divine, proportional perfection. And it also holds the hexagon. So when you said the honeybees, airborne, humming from the corn people to the elevation of residing in proper geometric. I mean, it's all there in your languaging, and people can go as far as they can in their own mythical and wondrous connection to spirit. So I've just got to know kindred soul sister a little bit better, and I'll introduce you to my SOAR community. And tell my community, is there any Facebook group or how to be in social media contact with you?
Yeah, so I have a page called Mastering the Art of Life with Christi Corradi. And Christi is spelled with like Christ with an I, so you remember how to spell it. And my last name is Corradi. And so it's Mastering the Art of Life with Christi Corradi. I also have a group there for discussions and so forth, but the page is where I disseminate most of my information.
Excellent. You're the full enchilada.
Yes.
And you're a master and you're claiming it, which is I like the most. Just you're ready, your puzzle piece is ready to take its place with the other puzzle pieces, and we are better together. So we're going to sign off on this interview, but of course it's just the beginning. We're all just various degrees apart. And do you sing with Claire Victor in the chorus at
I do. Yes, I'm in the one choir with Claire Victor, which is one of your buddies, and
Brad's? Yes,
yeah,
totally.
she's a good friend of mine as well, and I do a lot of work with her. We just did this really cool thing called a cappella, which is where we sing individually and then they put it together. They showed it at the Thanksgiving service, and we all sang. I'm in that. Yes.
I saw that. Okay, I'm going to bring that back up, knowing that you're in it. Well, we are a team, and we need to stay in communication and aware of each other. Why? Because we're supporting each other. Not any one of us holds everything. This is a team thing. So we're actually earning the right to inherit and inhabit and hold the strength of a new world together.
Yes.
So Christi,
Yes.
thank you so much. What a lovely time I've had with you here, and I look forward to more connection.
Oh, this was just beautiful. Thank you.
Blessings.